I'm Jeff O'Keefe, the Executive Director of Zen Peacemakers, or I am also and I'm so blessed, and it only took cajoling and bribes and arguments and goofing off for a couple of months to wrangle everybody to get together today to join. But it worked out quite fortuitously on April Fool's Day. So we've got 4 of the founders of the Order of Disorder. NoCanDo. I don't know. I would say in what square you are, but I don't know. We're all in the same squares. Kuku and Tutu, and Mr. YooWho are here. And this will not be your typical give a 20-minute talk and then have 40 minutes of Q&A. It will be whatever happens. So I'll turn it over to you folks to proceed as you'd like.
Well, we were going to start off with you, who's going to raise your levity.
Oh, that's right. Oh, now I have to check in with folks about that, because YooWho's idea is to get everybody up and standing and moving around and actually do a bit of a clown exercise. And I wonder if I can induce you all to join us. Yes? Oh, all right. Excellent. Excellent. Of course, to do this, I'm going to have to take off my hats. So today, we're going to work on something that we do often. It's called making mistakes. How does that sound? Okay, so now this exercise, I'm getting mixed signals over on the Kuku Tutu side. I'm not sure how I should handle that. Let me think about that. Go that way. Okay, I got it. I just brought 3 things. Now you are all going to need an object that you are going to try to balance on your head that you are not going to find very easy to balance on your head. So in other words, it's going to fall off at some point. It can be anything, preferably something that you don't mind dropping on the ground. And I'm gonna take off my nose. And so before we try that, though, we just have to open up our humor channels, all right? And to open up your humor channel, you actually have to get a little centered, believe it or not. The method that we're going to use today is very simple. You're just going to look down at your feet and place them parallel under your hip bones. And then you're just going to stand up relatively straight and relax your shoulders and relax your fingers and relax your whole body. And then we're going to do a little bouncing. So this is just to get the humor bones going. You're going to use your knees as a motor and just let yourself bounce from side to side. This also has a special stress reduction side effect. I hope that's okay with all of you. Just by relaxing your shoulders, and maybe you can get your shoulders to bounce with your knees. I'm getting my whole computer bouncing right now. I don't know about Good. And now just take another straight moment and bring your hands up. And the first thing you're going to do is a Tai Chi exercise. No humor necessary, just rubbing your hands vigorously together. And if you want to do it correctly, you actually can drop your hands so that they're in front of your hara, in front of your center. And take nice breaths. You can even, if you want, breathe right into your belly. And then now separate your hands by 2 or 3 inches. And see if you feel anything in between, some warmth, some lightness. You can nod your heads if you feel an energy field between your hands. Let me see, did it work? Oh, I see, I got several people nodding. Excellent. Okay, now you're going to invite your sense of humor into hand rubbing and look for you a funny way to rub hands. Any type of game, well, you can sing with it, you can clap your hands, you can, yes, Hat-Choo is doing it behind his head, yes. Whatever ridiculousness you can invite into the moment. Excellent, excellent. And then come back to just, rubbing your armpits, Kuku, very, very creative. And then separating your hands ever so slightly again. And what do you feel there? A little more energy? I'm guessing yes. Good. Now that sense of funny ridiculousness, I'd like you to take whatever that spirit was, go back to your hand rubbing and take a check on how are you feeling right now? What's the feeling alive in you? Can you place that feeling into a little kind of walk around and just have fun with a moment of walking with that feeling alive and your humor in the way you walk? If you feel like it, you can open your voice too. Oh my goodness, I see a lot of hands going sideways. A double walk is going on the Kuku Tutu channel. Oh my goodness, good, 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 good. All right, and coming back into one more time, listening to that space in between your hands. Or if there's 2 of you on the screen, you can listen to each other's hands and place them against each other. That would be an interesting experiment. Excellent. Oh, I see. Everybody is placing their hands out there. Yes. Thank you, Mioshin. Got it. All right. So now the objective is to have fun with making a mistake and to look at how do you express that with your gestures, with your voice. You don't need a stream of words, but if you want to say something, you can. Now, the goal is to keep the object on top of your head. And at some point, YooWho is going to say, oh, look at that beautiful sky. At which point, what will you do? You will look up at the beautiful sky, believing that YooWho has some secret that you don't know about. And perhaps something will fall on the ground, at which point, some expression of making a mistake. So now, maybe you'd like to try this out. Placing the object on your head very carefully. Your sense of humor perhaps alive. Trying to recreate that walk you had with the object on your head without dropping it. Looking good, everybody. Oh, what a beautiful sky. Okay, so how were those gestures of making a mistake? Let's see. We're going to try it again, okay? And this time I want you to exaggerate whatever it is that came out that first time to play with what you found. Are you ready? And this time, how about parodying a very, very important person placing the object on their head? So everything, you are the most important person in the world, and you are placing the object on your head, and you are going to walk around. with some type of very important walk this time. You are the most important person in the world. And then you hear a voice, oh, up in the sky, $1 million. Oh, oh, ah, oh, oh, oh. And some type of expression of, I made a mistake. How would a very important person feel about making a mistake? Linda, I see you watching everybody. Where are your gestures? Oh, okay. So let me do a check-in here. NoCanDo, how's it going there with the mistake making?
I can't make a mistake.
Oh no. Maybe I should ask. Fungus, how's it going with the mistake making?
It's challenging because it'd be a mistake to keep it on, but then it falls off, so I'm getting confused.
Oh, I see. Kuku Tutu, how's it going with making the mistakes?
I'm still stuck on being the most important person in the world.
Oh, good. Now, you know, the idea, of course, is to enjoy, your fun and funny are connected. And if you're having fun, then the funny will appear. So can you have fun parodying or playing the most important person in the world? What type of gesture would you use to signify your importance? Try a gesture. What would that be? Oh. Excellent. What about some voice to go with it? Try a hello.
Hello.
Excellent. And now you are going to walk on stage with this object balanced on your head in front of 1,000 people. And you are the most important person in the world. And yes, as you begin to walk onto the stage, the audience is deadly silent. You turn to face them and you say, hello, emphatically, hello! No. Sorry. And you lose your composure, but only for a moment, to regain it. And to try to pick up the object as if nothing went wrong. Good luck. Yes. And then, then to place the object back on your head. And, Tutu, that was, oh my goodness. And to leave the stage ceremoniously. As I leave the stage ceremoniously. So that was the brief moment of making a mistake. I chose not to get into the timing element of it, which would complicate things, but be useful. But maybe next year, this time, this place.
Thank you so much.
A pleasure.
Does everyone feel that their levity has been raised? Okay, good. Opa. All right, good. Now we're going to get on to some of the serious stuff. Professor Kuku is going to share with us some of the history of the founding of the Order of Disorder. Oh, this order.
That's a good idea. Let's rename it.
Come on,
Okay,
you didn't
well,
know that?
I didn't actually, no. The fun part of the afternoon is over. This is the academic part. We'll try to go fast. I will tell you that, speaking of making mistakes, I did rehearse this at 5 minutes to the hour, and it didn't work. So we'll see how it goes. Here we. Oh, that's not it.
Peter, can I ask a question?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, please.
Will there be a quiz?
You're giving it. Let's see here. That should be the beginning.
Good, got it.
You got it. All right, let's see. If I push play, you're not supposed to be able to see. Let's just test here. Yeah, no, the problem is I can't see my presenter's notes. So forget it. You guys are going to see me in my underwear. That's the way it goes. It's a friendly crowd. So here we go. Just the facts, according to me. Okay, now I have to do it here. So, Bernie Glassman was a child on Coney Island. As an adult, he became deeply immersed in the tradition of Japanese Zen practice. I'm minimizing all those pictures on my right. It's probably a good idea. The story is that he was the first Westerner to be formally recognized by the Soto Zen establishment. His book, The Infinite Circle, Dharma Talks from 1981 at the Zen Community of New York, represents that incarnation of Bernie's life. In the 1980s, Bernie introduced the idea of social action as a primary aspect of the practice. Keep your sitting practice going, but then get up and do something. We made a bakery with jobs for the unemployable, created housing and childcare, and cleaned up needle-strewn parks so we could sit on stones. In 1994, Bernie's primary teacher, Maizumi Roshi, passed away. We all grieved his loss. Now that his teacher was gone, Bernie was free to explore his own American expressions of the 2,000-year-old practice that he had absorbed so deeply. We started sitting at Auschwitz. We practiced on city streets. We even sat on the Capitol steps in a record cold Washington winter. Then after that, we tried to make peace in the Middle East. Here we are meeting with the president of Israel and so forth and so on. And while we were doing all that, we converted a barn in Montague, Massachusetts to a Dharma center for the Zen peacemakers. Why? Because Bernie envisioned it. Whenever we thought we understood the practice, Bernie would make a change, pull out the rug. It was exhausting, but that was his way of teaching. And I'll just mention it was also his personality, to be honest. Next, Bernie got a bee in his bonnet about how Zen students were hurting their practice by having no sense of humor, no lightness of being. He thought they were getting stuck in the stage of the 8th of 10 ox-herding pictures, the empty Enso circle, in the delusion that oneness is all. He felt that students were forgetting the last 2 stages of that teaching, in which the monk returns to live first in harmony with nature, and then goes to the village as a mensch among people. As usual, we thought Bernie was nuts. He started dancing around to Louis Armstrong's version of if it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. And he sought out a clown teacher. Bernie consulted his friend Wavy Gravy in San Francisco, and Wavy gave him Mr. YooWho. Mm-hmm. Mr. YooWho, Moshe Cohen, who you just met, was a master performer and a leader of Clowns Without Borders. He and his international clown colleagues would go to refugee camps around the world to try to bring back the habit of laughter to traumatized children. As part of Bernie's training, Moshe took us to Chiapas, where we amused children in remote villages. Bernie was a good student. He became a professional buffoon and competent as a clown assistant.
is a rose. Love is a rose.
Moshe told me after that performance that he had a temperature of 103 when he did that. I think professional performers are tougher than soldiers. All right, it goes on here. Back in New York on a Zen Peacemaker order street retreat, Bernie and I imagined the phrase order of disorder. So Bernie, being Bernie, he declared it real, called it odd, put it on the website, and made me president. Bernie became the Bodhisattva. I became Kuku Sama. In the spirit of not knowing, our motto was be unprepared. We initiated other people into the order and gave out odd names. We pretended it was an ancient tradition, but everybody knew we were making it up as we went along. I suppose that's the point of it all, to make it up as we go along. Bernie also invented Om, the Order of Minstrels, which is poised as we speak to make a comeback in Los Angeles. We also have the Order of Heretics, O, I believe I'm the only member, and the Order of Serious People, or OOPS, which is led by Eve Marco. Eve has recently been inducted into the Order of Disorder Hall of Fame. Thank you. Thank you. I believe she's the only member of that, too. For her dialogues with Bernie called Rocky and Tootsie. They're a hilarious portrait of a playful marriage. Jeff, I strongly suggest we figure out where that is and bring some light to it. It's fantastic. Then trouble arrived. Bernie asked me to write down the names of the members of the Order of Disorder. Bernie had a penchant for structure. Obviously, this was absurd. It ran against all principles of disorder, so I had no choice but to refuse. Of course, Bernie then had no choice but to fire me as president of ODD. Luckily, there arrived a young interloper who had, there's that interloper again. Oh, blowing that horn, no? Is that right? No.
Yes.
Who had not that one. Who had certain
No, same one.
Same one, okay. Who had certain natural gifts in the field of absurdity. Bernie quickly spotted his talent and appointed NoCanDo-san as the second president of the Order of Disorder. But it's hard to say. NoCanDo-san met the same fate as me. He was fired when he refused to record a list of the members. Here you see us demonstrating the power of the Order of Disorder's sacred scepter. It was fashioned from a clown horn and a toilet plunger. And I believe you lucky people will see the actual object a little later. Today, as ODD continues to search for its new president, maybe it's going to be Tutu, NoCanDo is recovering by helping to run a successful cookie factory. Yes, you heard that right, a cookie factory. Here's a taste of NoCanDo executing his corporate responsibilities. Pretty good, NoCanDo. Corporate leader. Last year, I'm getting through it here. Last year, the Order of Disorder created its own translation of traditional Zen peacemaker chants and sutras. We called it a guidebook for oddballs and kooks. Let's see. And then I hit the film. And I say, please do not buy this expensive book. It's not ready for prime time, and you have better things to do. It's called Don't be here now. And then, moving along, here's one of the translations in the book. It's our version of the Zen Pacemaker's Three Tenets with music by Mr. YooWho.
Only the nose.
Speaking of which, let's see. My colleagues will certainly throw banana peels at me for saying this, but the big secret is that the order isn't a real thing. There's no list. There's no there here. It's whatever we make it in a particular moment. And if you want to join, just give yourself a name and do a dance that is your own. I think Bernie's real intent was to make an order of menches. And looking back over the 20 years since this idea arose, I think he succeeded in adding a touch of lightness to the culture of Zen in the West. As for our odd gathering here today, we've already met one of our honored speakers at work in his cookie factory, Michel NoCanDo Dobbs, who also goes by Engu and often appears in the robes of a Buddhist priest. This picture features his Dharma father and his Dharma grandfather sitting above Grayston Bakery in Yonkers. Serious stuff. But before we hear a peep from Engu, we will be joined by a ghost. The ghost of P.T. Barnum, the circus impresario who fled from heaven when he realized it was a no-smoking zone. Part of the ghost will be played by Ara Tutu Fitzgerald. When Bernie first heard Tutu's name, he immediately pronounced her Bishop Tutu. Here, Bishop Tutu is properly made up as a ghost for the task of campaigning for this fall's election.
Rising seas, equal pay, minimum wage, the Supreme Court, principles, politics, the American dream. Ha!
Watch the bullies dance.
It's a circus. If you lie to inflame the crowd, they become a mob, a dangerous mob that the circus clowns cannot control.
Yikes.
Yikes. Where's my nose?
America, greatest show on earth.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bishop Tutu will now present The Invisible Circus of the Present Tense, starring a wild orchid known to the people who previously inhabited this New England land as the moccasin flower, but known to P.T. Barnum and his friend Henry David Thoreau as the lady slipper. Welcome Tutu. You might make it, solo view here.
Spotlight.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to correct Kuku here. Bernie looked at me sitting in a chair and said, "Oh, your name is Tutu." And I thought, okay. And then he said, no, Bishop Tutu. And I thought, oh my. Oh. Anyway, thank you for asking me to read this. This is something I'm working on. So, anyway, allow me to introduce myself to you. That's me. I'm me. I'm me. That's P.T. Barnum. That's P as in present. T as in tense. Oh, come one, come all to the P.T. Barnum's invisible circus of the present tense. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll have no idea how to fly. It's the only show in town, and it's free. Watch as I, the ghost of P.T. Barnum, emerge from a puff of my own cigar smoke. Yeah, ta-da! Turns out, heaven is a no-smoking zone. And on top of that, it's a no-lying zone. At first, I hated that even more than the no smoking. Oh, my pronouns are me, 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 me. He, 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 he. Ha, ha. You. Oh, it's such a pleasure to be back here with you, whoever you are, and wherever you are. May you be somewhere where, on a good day, the golden rule, the rule of law, the Four Noble Truths, and the 10 Commandments still hold sway. And may you be well. May you be living, not alone, but with your inner child. I, the ghost of P.T. Barnum, that 19th century inventor of hoaxes and circuses and the most famous person in the world, return now to remind you that each and every one of you is a pre-ghost. That is your pre-existing condition. And later on in the show, I will show you that the rules of the circus, the old rules of the circus, can help us get through the pandemonium we face today. But before I go on with the show, I wanted to bring you a little story starring my favorite little lady. Together, we've seen spring turn to summer, and summer turn to fall, and fall turn to winter, and the dead of winter turn to spring. And together, we celebrate a pandemic year. And I turn to you with a sideshow. It's a miracle. Spring is immune to the virus. So infected with the virus of spring, I, the ghost of P.T. Barnum, that's P as in present, T as in terrific, I decide to become one with a flowering tree and to dance next to the beating heart of my favorite lady, Slipper. I'll never forget my first lady, Slipper. Long ago in 1853, I found her on a walk with my friend Henry David Thoreau. You might know him as the naturalist that he was. There we were in his woods. His woods? Even then we knew better than that. Observe the curve of her stem, her broken beating heart, which even Henry thought looked like a scrotum, not like a lady, or a slipper, or a shoe. There she was, alive in the woods, beautiful and horrible, a freak of nature, just like you and me. And miracle of showbiz, poof, or now we call it Zoom, I'm back here in the 21st century spring, and so is my lady slipper. A living relative of her flowering, ghostly ancestors. Hundreds of flower generations later, she, he, it, they bloom in perfect harmony, pure beauty. My heart floats in joy. In my livelier 19th century days, the roots of the lady slipper were used as a sedative to help with fevers, nervous conditions, tooth decay, and muscle spasms. Thoreau reminded me that as with the earliest settlers, if you did not learn the ways of the native tribes, you didn't survive. The moccasin flower is her original name. I bow down.
Oh, could the roots of the flower provide a cure for the current pandemic? I could make a fortune. Come one, come all, to the healing cult of the lady slipper. Folks take more and more and more of this stuff to keep hope alive, or just not to have to admit that they've been hoodwinked. To pick or not to pick, to grind or not to grind, pill form or tincture, Midas touch, I'll sell the tincture in gold bottles right next to the pink cotton candy. Oh, poor Midas. That's right. Everything he touched turned to gold. Golden signs, golden statues, golden children, golden showers, golden toilets. He ended up in a golden-crusted world alone, and he could no longer breathe. Rule number 1, don't be fooled by gold. I hear these days the moccasin flower or the lady slipper is rare, nearly extinct, like you or me. It's illegal to pick. Ah, damn it. Rule number 2, the rule of law. Stop the steal. If you hold his, her, its, their heart close and listen, you will vow to save the life of this flower. Bless the mud of this moment on Mother Earth in the land of the Wampanoag. Bless the mud of this moment in which a tiny forest orchid, a tiny forest orchid can grow and be protected by you. The end.
That can't be the end.
It's part 1 of 10 parts. Oh,
Wow.
I thought he'd gone away after Watch the Bullies Dance, but he seems to be returning.
How nice. That was
Thank you for listening.
wonderful. Thank you. That was the most orderly thing that's ever happened in the history of the Order of Disorder. It may be the most beautiful thing that's ever happened in the Order of Disorder under the auspices. Thank you. Oi.
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 What do you got to say, Angu?
Well, I'm going to follow up with a little book, a koan from our book.
Oh yeah, the
Just
one
a
about
little one. Just a little koan from our book. It's hard to follow Tutu. She's incredible. But nevertheless,
Do it.
never, nevertheless. So this is a koan for the curious. Yunmen once said to the assembly, all people are in the midst of delight. He was from Brooklyn. When you look at it, you don't see it. Everything seems so dark and dim. How is it being in the midst of delight? And none of the monks could say a word. No one spoke. Even the lay people kept quiet. So Yunmen finally answered for them. He said, a good thing, don't beat nothing at all. That's what he said. So we added a commentary to this, and the commentary says, when you're in delight, there's nothing but delight as far as the eye can see. Delight permeates the whole universe, existing right here now. And then, and here, and there, and everywhere, just delight. Yunmen was famous for answering his own questions. Either he was surrounded by a bunch of dummies, or he liked to hear himself talk. We don't know which. Probably a combination. If they weren't dumb before they heard his answer, they were after. As Kuku said, he pulled the rug out from under him. So he takes everything away, leaving them only in the light. But what about you? How would you answer if you were asked this question? If you were amongst that jolly band of stooges? And then the capping verse. The light is all around. Grimly staring at our phones, we hardly notice. When the battery runs out, we look up suddenly, panicky, surprised to find that we're soaking in it. Woo, you're soaking in it. Marge, you're soaking in it. So it's been a rough year, you know. It's been a real rough year. I don't know about all of you guys. Everyone's had a different version of a really rough year, as far as I can tell, you know. And it might seem to be like it's too much to ask for delight in all of this, you know. Everything seems dark and dim as we binge watch our way through Hulu, Netflix, Prime, whatever, you know, the next thing, or stare numbly at our phones, waiting, or we Zoom here and there, seeing auspicious talks that, you know, enlighten us and delight us. But I think we're really lonely, you know. I think we're so starved for being with each other in the meat. And so Yunmen actually came from a difficult place too, you know. He came from the end of the Tang Dynasty in China, when 2/3 of the population died from either rebellion, warfare, famines, natural disasters. 2/3 of the population. When I sit with young men in prison, I go, so imagine, like, you know, if there's 12 of us, I go, now there's only 4 of us that lived, you know, 2/3 of the population. So, and that was when Zen flourished, you know, so there's hope. I don't know what it is, but this could be good news for Zen, you know. But I think, you know, that Young Men reminds us, in the midst of all of that, in the midst of that, there is this connection, there is this light, you know. So when I go to work every day, you saw, I wear that clown mask. I wear a clown mask all day long. And I walk around and I talk to about 300 people, mostly Latina women, you know, and I find out how they're doing, and a lot of loss, you know, for many people this year. A lot of them lost parents, so it's just hard, you know. And even in that hardness, though, the connection is what brings joy, you know, what brings the light and delight, you know. And they may not, we cry together sometimes, you know. It's not always about, like, you know, sometimes I have to turn the mask upside down when it's and I wear it like this. You know, and sometimes we're not allowed to take the masks off, but I'll put on another mask, you know. So yeah, I mean, I think it's funny. One of the ladies said to me the other day, "Oh, Michelle," she said, "Michelle," they call me Mishi. Mishi, she said, "It must be so hard. You're happy every day." And I said, "I'm not happy, but the mask is happy." So I just walk around to say hi to everybody, you know, and you think I'm happy. I'm crying under here, you know, some of the times, but there is this connection making, and one time I said to Bernie, we were talking about something, and he said, what's you know, what is this? What is the whole thing of this practice? And I said, I think it's connection. And he said, oh, that's such an important word. And he was looking out. It was after his stroke. He was looking outside, and he said, like, when I look outside, you know, I can feel my connection to the tree, to the bird, to the clouds, to the sky, you know. Keeping that alive in our lives now is really, really important, you know. So, and the order of disorder does it by, I feel like, one of the things that, even though we don't exist, I found out today, thanks a lot. I kind of, you know, there were hints about it in Zen anyway, that we didn't exist, but now this blows everything up. Yeah, geez. But, you know, there's just this, we all these boundaries that we put up, and all these, and they're fake, you know, and they're make-believe. And I think that one of the things that the order of disorder can do, and the ways that it works in the world, is to just, like, drop all those boundaries, even the ones that you hold inside of yourself, you know. Be free. It's your true nature. And there's joy there, you know, but you don't have to live in a prison of joy either, you know.
Yeah.
YooWho.
NoCanDo.
What? So, anyways, with that, I give you all. I think we should try to do a little Q&A. Hat-Choo, is there time?
Well, there is time if you clowns have time, and I want to recognize you're all a little older, so we don't want to keep you up too late. So
older than what?
So how much longer would you like to go, folks?
Well, let's see. We'll do it organically.
Go until the questions run out,
or until the horn sounds.
There you go. So you're in charge now.
Uh-oh.
You're the president again. So If anybody has a question or a comment or something to offer, I can't. We've got more than one page worth of people here, so I can't see everybody. So feel free, and we'll try to direct traffic. Unmute yourself, and or if you want to wave your hand, maybe I can see you, or raise your electronic hand. That's probably the best way. Hi, Tutu.
Hi. I just realized when I was watching Mr. YooWho and Burning in Chiapas again, how serious the business of clowning is, and the gift that it is to watch in the film as children and grown-ups around him started to breathe. You know, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
I feel I should just add a tiny bit of context to that film, because that was filmed in the displaced community of YooWho, which was near Acteal originally, where this big massacre took place during the Zapatista uprising. And if I'm remembering correctly, that video is after the show, right? Kuku? I'm pretty sure it's after the show, because I would never, in a Clowns Without Borders sense, be that familiar with people or approach them and kind of give them a hard time and play with them unless there was already a relationship established between us. And as I watch that, I'm just reminded of that.
Thanks, YooWho. Anybody? Anything goes. This is your chance. Senshin and Backwards Coyote raised their hand.
Oh.
Uh,
Are you unmuted?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Just a second, we have to turn off the other computer.
Right.
See, that's disorder.
Whoops. You muted you too? Can you hear us?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Odin got his hand up. So today I started a descent with FoOLs, a FoOLs descent with the Animus Institute. And an authentic elder is guiding this. And I thought I would look up and offer this paragraph as to the importance of the jester and the fool. I am so grateful for the Order of Disorder and Grandfather Bernie's work and all of your work. And Senshin and I have been working with YooWho, Moshe, and find that there's so much subtle dharma within the fool. And so I'd like to read this. It's only a paragraph. Like the jester in the court of a medieval king, the childlike fool is free to speak the truth without punishment or censorship, because we trust in the absolute innocence of her motivation. She can function for us as an agent of awakening, like the child of a famous fairy tale who announces to the entire community of people trapped in illusion, the emperor is not wearing any clothes. The equivalent of this perspective today is any fool who risks speaking the truth about our civilization, perhaps about the value of security in quotes, based upon a nuclear arms race, of prosperity for which we risk radioactive meltdowns, or of culture sustained by watching 6 hours of television per day. And or anything that's going on with our politics, with our earth. And it's such a path to really being present, to really waking up. And I so appreciate the Zen Peacemakers and everything that we have to offer together and bear witness to together. This lightness training is really helpful. Thank you.
I love that you guys have a front and back. That's amazing. You never see that on Zoom, or Moose as now I'm going to
Moose.
call it. You guys just invented Moose.
There you go.
Yeah, Heyoka is. Do you know about Heyoka?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
NoCanDo.
I do. I spend time with Lakotas a lot, so
Okay.
they imply that I might be a Heyoka. But
yes, and Coyote also embodies the trickster as well as the balancer. Coyote Old Woman is the balancer of the polarities.
Yeah.
And I think that's what FoOLs do. They balance.
Yeah.
Helene, you had your hand up earlier, and then I see that it came down. Would you like to?
Yeah, I just had a question about how you go about clowning in Clowns Without Frontier. I mean, is it all spontaneous, or do you have usually a sketch, or is it, like a tale that you in personage? That's the question. Thank you. And
Sure.
thank you to what you said was absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So Clowns Without Borders actually exists in 14 countries. It started in Spain, and it started with the conflict in ex-Yugoslavia, and with professional clowns and circus performers taking shows from the north of Spain, from the Catalonia area, and just driving to Croatia and Bosnia and going and touring refugee camps. And that's what it started with, was the idea of bringing laughter into places where it was most needed. And so generally, nowadays, there are very many different methodologies. For example, the French Clowns Sans Frontières, they will work with local artists always in their projects. They don't just bring a show and go tour. They find local artists in the country where they're going, and they build a show together with those artists, and they generally go without anything. In other words, they work with local costume, local props, local language, local stories. And then at the opposite end of the spectrum, the way Clowns Without Borders started was literally a group of performers with a show going to a refugee camp and offering the show up to the camp. The goal being laughter. Of course, cultural sensitivity came in relatively quickly. What is appropriate? Just because it's funny in your country doesn't mean that's going to be funny or appropriate in this country. And so, I mean, that's the very condensed version of it.
You want to say, I think the last two trips you made were to Myanmar. Do you want to say something about what's going on?
Oof. Yeah. Well, actually, I went there in 2009, 2011, 12, and 13. So before and after Aung San Suu Kyi was liberated. And the first time it was a really like it is now, but not quite as extreme. One day we worked with local artists there, Tutame Kayete, I'm trying to remember their names. It was a group of young people. The French Clowns Without Borders had been going there for a number of years. And then I went in when the Nargis cyclone took place. And we went, and actually 4 groups went to the Delta to do shows in the Delta. And I just remember one of the Burmese artists saying to me, "Oh, the soldiers have their red handkerchiefs out today. That means they have orders to shoot to kill." Or not, maybe it wasn't shoot to kill, but they had orders that they were warning people that they had orders to use their weaponry. So in other words, be careful. It's way too complex an issue to to bring into this forum what's going on there right now, other than it's pretty horrific.
You recently communicated, didn't you, with one of the performers you played with?
Yeah, I am. And they're all resisting and being very brave and courageous, as I'm sure most of you know. And it looks like they're going to keep on doing that. It's a very awkward situation. I read a report the other day that people were being interviewed about the soldiers that had been drunk and stoned and had attacked people, and said they weren't speaking Burmese, and it just made you wonder what's really going on there. We don't know. It's challenging, to say the least. I went there because there are children, what are called children's training schools. I mean, I went back there because there are children's training schools that are more like detention centers that are run by the government for kids who were on the street or kids whose parents were in jail or various reasons. And there wasn't really schools, and there were no academic training going on. And so I did a tour of those schools and did workshops in those schools. And then I went back 2 subsequent years to continue that work and working with local artists to get them involved in going into those places and to continue that work when I wasn't there. Yeah. So yeah, there's a serious side to the clowning, you know. But you know, I think the point is, you know, sometimes you just have to remind, you know, when you go into one of those refugee camps and you do a show, it reminds the population that, oh, celebration is still possible despite these circumstances. And that, as you were saying, connection is everything, and connection and laughter and connection and joy just changes the atmosphere, hopefully not just for the show, but, you know, at least it reminds them of the possibility and that there's another side to life. And, you know, children are resilient. I can never forget once in Guatemala doing shows in the highlands where the Civil War took place. And, you know, you get there and I find 2 kids, and the kids, they got nothing, but they're playing. They're playing with a bottle cap, and I forget what the other instrument was, but they were playing with each other in the dirt, and all they had were like discarded items as toys, but they were playing. You know, they made those into toys. Yeah.
Hey, I see that that our Comandante of Brazil, Ovidiot, is with us.
You're right, he is.
Idiot.
Ovidiot!
Ovidiot.
Yes.
Ovidiot. Ah.
That's
How's it going?
Listen, you know, we have the honor of being the worst country in the world.
Congratulations.
You took over. You usurped the U.S. We had battle for a while.
Trump is really mad, you know, that Bolsonaro is worse than he was, you know.
He lost.
The good news, our former president is out of jail, and the charges were annulled, and he has very good chances of being back next year for the election. So that's the silver lining.
Good. And what about, and are you planning a takeover of the Order of Disorder?
Yeah, well, I know we should, I think we should share more jokes in the Facebook page. You know, I missed that. I think we
Yeah.
You know, Bernie, I think, is very proud of us because, you know, we've been remembering him, you know, his legacy through various methods. But right now, he's there saying, hey, guys, very nice, you know, I am quite
Frozen.
sure about that.
Yeah.
We had a
All right,
workshop.
well-
We had a workshop when he was in the hospital, and what did we do? We got him on the Zoom, and we put him on the floor on an iPad, and the 15 or 20 of us gathered around and looked down at him.
Yeah, geez, I remember that. We were at the
This Village Center.
yeah. Huh. Does anyone else have a pressing question? Otherwise, we're gonna bell and bow out and swab out. You know what a swab is? Does everyone know what a swab is?
Up the nose?
No, that's a different kind of swab.
A swabby?
No, not a swabby. A swab is how you spell bow backwards. Knuckleheads.
Look in a mirror.
I thought you were going to end organically.
We are organically ending. Oy, oy, oy. Is that PT again? Get him out of here. Get that PT out of here. So no one has a question, right? Am I right?
Looks like not.
YooWho has another question. You've got to unmute yourself. Are you muted?
I was muted. I
that
make
the
that
question?
mistake quite often. Let me see. Do you all have your mistake expression still alive? And what does it look like? Let me see everybody's expression of mistake. Good. That's great. I just want to let you know that one of the Hopi names for clown is delight maker. And I think that aspect of clown is something that we can carry with us, looking for opportunities for delight. Even in the worst of times, you got to celebrate.
Like young men.
Like
Exactly.
young men?
Oh, be quiet, Kuku.
All right. So I end every workshop I do with a backwards bow.
A swab.
And a swab, yes. And of course you're welcome to make up your own, it's evolved into some form of that. And we usually do that with some sacred mischief in our eyes. Mr. NoCanDo, are you going to give us a signal as to when to bow?
I am. You ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Ho!
Go make mischief.